Yeah, yesterday the Supreme Court upheld Obamacare. And joining us now, UAB professor of health services, Paige Powell. Good morning, Paige.
Good morning, JT.
Thanks for coming on. How is this going to change my health care?
Well, your health care probably won't change very much since you have health insurance through your employer. But for people who had pre-existing conditions, that's going to be the major change. They're now going to be able to get insurance that, especially with the subsidies, is most likely going to be affordable for them.
You know, a lot of times when they have open enrollment at companies, they waive the pre-existing conditions for family members to come in. Is this different than that? And this will just allow people that have pre-existing conditions at any time to come in?
Well, in the employer market, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act took care of the pre-existing conditions. So in the individual market, that didn't occur. And so now no insurance companies can rate or refuse people on pre-existing conditions.
Okay, and what's the downside of that?
Well, the downside is that insurance companies are going to face higher premiums because of sicker people signing up for insurance. And with the penalties not being very severe, then healthy people might not sign up for it.
I got you. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, and then federal tax dollars will then subsidize the higher premiums.
And which means it all comes out of our pockets. So
correct.
How will this change and benefit those that are not insured right now? And this whole thing about, you know, if you don't get insurance, we're going to, well, I guess, basically tax you or fine you.
Well, those people who don't choose to get insurance can pay the tax, but if they get hurt during the year or sick during the middle of the year, they can't purchase insurance then. They have to wait until an open enrollment period. So they would still be responsible for seeking care at an ER and paying for the bill. Okay,
well, just let's talk about the average person that has some insurance through their company or on their spouse's plan or whatever. How will that affect the majority of middle America? Are rates going to go up because of this with our insurance companies?
Yes, rates will probably go up overall, in part because private insurance companies are having to subsidize the individual markets for the sicker people that are going to be coming in. So there's a tax that private insurance companies are going to have to pay to help cover those additional costs.
Well, this isn't all supposed to go into effect until 2014. What are some of the things that insurance companies and hospitals and other folks in the medical field are going to have to be doing between now and then to ramp up to get ready for this? Or are some of them already in the proper place to be good to go for this?
Well, I think most healthcare organizations have been planning for this, assuming it would go through. And the Alabama Department of Insurance has been working on putting together the health insurance exchange. The state legislature needs to pass the legislation that would require Alabama to have the exchange in order for us to be able to operate one. If we don't, if the legislature doesn't pass the law, then the federal government comes in and sets up the exchange.
All right, well, let me ask you. Paige Powell is with us. She's a UAB professor in health services. Paige, if you were on the Supreme Court yesterday, all right, no, never mind. Forget the Supreme Court, because I believe that, that the justices did act according to law, especially with Edwards being so conservative. A lot of people, kind of perplexed that he voted the way he did. What do you think, as a professor, about this whole thing? Is it a good thing or a bad thing, in your opinion?
Well, I think there are sort of winners and losers in the whole thing, but ultimately, we've had the goal of wanting to get universal coverage for a long time. Ultimately, I hope that it turns out to be a good thing, but it's going to be a bumpy road for the first few years of the implementation.